Hello and welcome back. Today I'm doing another bit of servicing on my wife's Peugeot 208 2014. In this video we'll be looking at the diesel filter, something that's often forgotten, neglected, but really does have a negative impact if not changed. So under the engine bay you're going to have a couple of connectors which are nice and easy, just poke and pull. So with my little hook tool here, these two will come off nice and easy. The third one's a little bit more interesting, so there's a little tab to lift and then it's more of a push and pull. If you are trying to force this, you're going to snap it. It doesn't take a lot of pressure at all. It doesn't take much strength. So just make sure you've got the tab just right and it will just slide off. And the fourth connector is an electrical one. And my face gets in the way here and the tab's slightly broken, but it's a fairly straightforward little tab to lift. And again, you just pull it off with not too much force. And then the last little thing, which you can do now or once the filter's been removed, is this little switch, this little tab. It must be switched. Looking at the top then, you've got 3 screws. They're Torx screws, Torx 20s. You can do them now or do them once the filter's been removed. I chose to do it now, which then meant I dropped the screw in the engine bay. So you may want to do it afterwards. But I do have a little magnet on a stick, so it's not the end of the world. That's a relief. If you don't have a magnet, you can get a stick with a bit of blue tack on the end. Okay, so I've done all 3 screws, which you can do now or after, as I mentioned. Next is these 2 bolts. I think they're 9 or 10 mil bolts. Once you loosen both of these, you can just lift the filter out. The bolts will stay in place, so you won't lose those either. Just be mindful when you do lift it, there is a bit of a spout just underneath, and the whole thing will be full of diesel, so just go easy. And there it is. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know I'm going straight over to the wheelie bin. Again, make sure you fully switch that little switch in the sensor, this one here. And then you can pull this off. You need to use quite a bit of force, but be very delicate at the same time because we don't want to break this little nozzle here because that would be a bad time. Make sure that the old filter still has its O-ring or Q-ring or whatever shape that is. The rubber sort of seal there. That goes straight into the bin. And our new filter will have a lovely new seal. I'm going to just lubricate that up with a bit of diesel. Thankfully, I have some quite literally on tap. There we are. And just chuck that on top. That's sufficient. So now we're going to insert the sort of spout that we haven't broken, thankfully. It should all line up quite nicely. And it'll be a bit of a click, and you can then push that tab back out. And that locks it in place, relatively speaking. So that is now it pinned in. 3 screws. I'm going to pop those in. I'll keep this on for now, but that needs to come off before you pop the diesel filter inside your vehicle. So we're going to do up these 3 screws now. Again, don't over tighten anything, but it does need to be tight enough. Straight in place she goes. And it's just a case of reversing. So I'm going to tighten up the little nuts. And then reconnect all of my hoses. The 2 at the front, the electrical connector, and the more interesting one, as I called it. There is no priming required, so there's no primer bulb like with my old Berlingo. And you shouldn't really have to prime it even with the ignition on and off. So when I've changed my diesel filter in my Citroen Picasso, you have to turn the ignition on and off about 10 times slowly. With this, it should just fire up. You may lose some power randomly. It may suddenly drop out, and that is because the diesel hasn't quite reached the filter. So then at that stage you can do a couple of ignition on, wait a couple of seconds, ignition off, and then just crank it a bit and it will then just fire up. If it doesn't, go back, check your hoses, make sure everything's connected properly. And it's actually really that simple. It's quite a nice little job. If you found this useful, do check out the rest of the channel. There's plenty of videos on this car and others. Love you, bye.